All right, everyone, welcome back once again to this Beefcast presentation, bringing you a second series today from WCS Europe. This is the lower bracket, round 5 between this Zerg and Terran player. Joining me, my co-caster, Brandon, a.k.a. Muatorn from Muatorn TV. You ready for a second series today?
Yeah, for sure, man. And Happy, one of the few Terrans I actually like. That guy, he just happens to be one of the few Terrans I like. You don't know who he is yet. Sorry.
You definitely don't know who he is yet, but let's get him introduced anyway. In the bottom right-hand corner, playing for Team Empire, the Blue Terran himself. You might have heard about him once or twice before. He is Happy.
Yeah, and he's one of the few Terrans I actually used to like. There was a time where every Terran just cheesed, and Happy didn't, so that made me like him. But yeah, his opponent in the top left of Ohana is going to be FXO.Lowely. We've casted a few of his before.
Yeah, just a couple. I'm trying to. Why doesn't the spinny thing work? Spin. Oh, there we go. GSL.
Delete and end. Isn't it?
Yeah, I got it. So good at this game. Yeah, so FXO.Lowely, we've been following him through this a bit, and he's had a pretty good amount of success so far in this tournament, showing his prowess against some Protoss players. We'll have to see how he fares up against his Terran opponent this time. Right now, actually going for a 14 hatch. So very early hatchery right here. Definitely a little bit greedy.
Yeah, for sure. I like greedy, though. That's how Zerg's supposed to play. Be as greedy as possible while not dying. So good on him. We actually see Happy not walling off as well, so he's being greedy as well.
Yeah, I mean, when you're talking about Terran and not walling off against Zerg, that always gets me scared. Just because it's not really that much of a mineral sink to wall off. You're losing mining time on an SCV for an additional 15 seconds, something like that. I mean,
that's a lot.
It's like 50 minerals maybe to wall off, and it protects you from so many early pool builds. But right now he does see that Lowely is not going to be going for that. Maybe Happy, both these players from Eastern Europe, probably know a little bit more about each other than we do, so he knows that Lowely is not going to be cheesing him right now and a little bit more comfortable with building further in his base and getting that more macro-oriented opening.
Yeah, I imagine they've played each other a few times. We do actually see double gas coming out here from Happy after his expansion, so Hellions, you think?
Yeah, this looks like a 1-rack fast expand into reactored Hellions. That's what I would be thinking. But we'll have to see in just a moment when he does hit that 100 gas mark. Back at home for Lowely, he has taken a gas of his own, as he's got 2 drones in there for the time being, and the third going to join his buddies in there as well on their gas mining parade back and forth between the hatchery and the extractor, making their way up to that 100 gas as well to see if he's going to be getting Zergling speed or going for an extremely early layer.
Yeah, actually I was just kind of missed it. You said I was fiddling around with the UI, but we just see 1 gas here from Lowely. I'm not sure if you mentioned that. He's also not got a rotor or anything crazy, so it doesn't look like any kind of 2-base, and Empire.Happy even sees that, so he's in a solid position. His expansion is done in the natural, so just waiting to turn that into an orbital. Should be now. Well, as soon as he gets 150 minerals, there we go. And he does so. And the factory started along with the reactor, so we were right. It's Hellions.
Yeah, and I really like that across the map he used that scouting SCV to actually build a bunker at the 3rd. This is something that we see a little bit more common these days, and this is really, really irritating as a Zerg. All you want to do is go over there and build that hatchery, but it's going to require a queen and 8 Zerglings to break that down, or 16 Zerglings. Oh, not even 16 Zerglings, 12 Zerglings to break that down.
Yeah, it's still a huge pain in the ass to make that many Zerglings. So you might even see him just take the other 3rd, which, at that point the bunker's worth it. It's 25 minerals if you salvage it, so not really a big deal. And at most he loses 150 minerals to put his opponent's 3rd in a really risky position. So if he goes for a 2-base timing attack after this, it should do pretty well. Definitely.
And it was Lowely that we did see a few days ago when we were casting the same tournament that was sticking on 2-base a little bit longer. Going with that early layer. So I don't recall his Terran opponent that he was doing that against you. Thor's?
Well, I think it was Thorzane, yeah.
I think it was to Muslim, actually.
It would have been,
It
yeah,
was
one of those
Muslim.
two.
Yeah,
Or some E.G. Terran, because we were making lady call jokes.
Yeah, it was definitely to Muslim. And so we did see him a few times with that two-base build, something that he's showing to be very comfortable with, and he did actually win that series, spoilers. And so, yeah, a couple of times there he was very, very delayed getting that third and managed to make it work. So this is a position that Lowely's probably not too uncomfortable with. Going to be going up to double upgrades. That lair already out. We'll see what he chooses to use that for as the infestation pit comes out as well. But on the other side of the map, we do see a third going down for Happy. So he's definitely going to be taking the economic lead here. And behind that, he has already started the Banshee with Cloak. So that Banshee moving across the map right here definitely has the possibility to do some damage. But with lair already finished, the Queens and the Overseer's probably going to be able to clean that up relatively effectively, but this is just one more tool in the Terran player's arsenal to deny the third for as long as possible.
Yeah, I love always put his position as Hellions as well. Just having them on each path there. Now he's moved them as he did need to fight some Zerglings, but it was just a way of making sure that either no creep gets out and no Zerglings get by for scouting. He's also going to kill some Zerglings here. I think he lost one Hellion, so that's a pretty good trade. Almost killed the creep tumor accidentally, but didn't quite make it. And this Banshee with Cloak is just going to kill Queens, man. He's going to take out 2 right now.
Yeah, definitely just killed 2 Queens there. The Overseer does finally make its way over, and the Queen going to try to chase that Banshee on out of there. But right now, down to just 1 Queen on 2 bases. That's definitely not what you want to have happen. This is forced out Spore Crawlers. This is forced out additional Queens, going all the way up to 5 Queens now. So there's 3 out on the field and 2 more in production. But these Banshees going to be able to clean up this Spine Crawler, which is one of the main threats to these Hellions. So the Hellions are actually going to be able to get up there and deal some damage to the Zerglings if they so choose to do so. And the Banshee's going to re-cloak right now. One of the Banshees does fall right here at the same time as one of the Queens, and the Zergling's actually going to be able to chase off a lot of these Hellions. But the Hellions doing a pretty good job playing Ring Around the Rosie right now, do manage to take out a lot of these Zerglings before they start to take superior damage themselves. And 2 Hellions actually survive right there. If we take a look at the units lost right here, we do have 46 units lost, so that's a lot of Zerglings. 1,500 resources to only 900. Our Terran player playing a phenomenal game right now.
Yeah, and the big thing here is that his orbital's already done at his third, and he's dropping mules. He's so far ahead. I mean, Lily's expansion hasn't even started yet. Yeah, Lily's a little bit ahead in supply here, but he's making only Zerglings, so... And now he's going to fight this bunker. So yeah, making only Zerglings, and his opponent's already at 3 base. That's good for Lowely. He managed to kill that bunker before it was salvaged. That's a little bit of a win, but I don't know, man. He's still in trouble here. Yeah,
a little bit of a win, but back at home we do have 3 factories now churning out units, double upgrades coming out from the armory. So this is going to be mech from our Terran player right now, and that is not what our Zerg player wants to see. He does have those infestors already out with pathogen glands, but Zergling's going to be so ineffectual against these Hellions, especially once they do get that Blue Flame upgrade. And once you get those upgrades coming, Blue Flame Hellions with +2, I believe, 2-shot drones. And yeah, that's going to be absolutely brutal.
I think it's Blue Flame with +1, 1-shot drones, or normal with +2. I'm not entirely sure at this point. But yeah, it definitely gets to the point where you can 2-shot drones, and it's kind of awesome. You drop 2 Hellions in a base, and you can kill like 5 drones.
No, that's not okay. Like, okay, we talked about this before. I'm a Zerg player. I like watching Storms kill Lings and Mutalisks.
Right.
I hate watching Hellions kill drones.
I hate that too.
It's weird.
Just because of how long it was, like, for the first year or so of the game even, where Hellions, you would drop 2 Hellions in a base, or 4 Hellions, and like, the entire economy would just be gone instantly with that Blue Flame. It was ridiculous. It was way imbalanced. So
damn you Slayers Terrans.
Yeah, dude. The Slayers Terrans. Well, luckily there aren't any left.
Oh. Sad. Too soon, man. Too soon.
I'm sorry.
We do have gases 5 and 6 coming up here for our Terran player, so he's going to be able to get that gas count nice and high, as 2 more factories are going to be added in, bringing the total to 5 right now. Going to be able to pump those units out very quickly. We do see some burrowed Lings over here at the 4th base of the Terran player. So those,
whoa, sorry about that.
Not a problem. Those lings are going to be very effective at scouting when that base goes down. So if he tries to float a command center over there and morph that into a planetary fortress, that ling is going to get killed off. And 10 seconds later, you're going to see these lings right here unburrow, and they're going to force a cancel on the planetary fortress, as it's not going to be able to defend itself while it's morphing. So I definitely like that cool play out of Lowely. That's something that we've seen from Cats actually before. He likes to do cool things like that to his opponent. You've even seen him burrow 4 banelings around a base, and as soon as that base starts, he hits those banelings, they blow up, and the base dies immediately.
Oh, that's really cool. And, you know, he even saw these Banshees with those lings. Didn't react to them, but they were in his vision, so if he had noticed it, it would have been, you know, an even better thing that he's done with them. That probably would have been worth even more than the planetary cancel. But, you know, oh well. Doesn't always catch everything. We'll take out this base and probably those 2 drones. Not the worst loss ever, but it sucks because Lowely is actually... He's got 1 macro hedge. Yeah, so he's on 4 hedge right now.
And we actually do see those flanklings actually going to make their way into the 3rd base right now. These Hellions still without blue flame, that's going to be finishing up in about 15 seconds here, are going to be able to clean them up. But 4 Hellions are lost there, so not bad. He does actually see the command center moving out now, so that ling is going to be blocking that for the time being, but no flanking Zerglings to go ahead and cancel that planetary fortress for the time being.
Nope.
So we don't get to see to do that. He definitely jumped the shark on that one.
Yeah, no flanklings. I like that.
Sad.
Oh well. Yeah, Happy should realize what's going on in like 2 seconds here in scanning. Actually, the Raven came over and killed the Zergling, so he doesn't even get to delay the command center there. Nicely done having a Raven. I just don't understand why some Terrans won't build them. We do see Lowely here taking his 4th, but again, I mean, it's later than Happy's. It's just so weird seeing this. Like, a Zerg's 4th being later than Terran's is... Especially when Terran is going mech. That is madness.
Yeah, this game is definitely looking very good for Happy at this point. He's just continuing to build command centers, which is what you do when you're ahead as Terran. You just drop more and more command centers. You use those mules to get more minerals, to build more command centers, to drop more mules. And it's just kind of a cycle right there. And it is bad news for the Zerg player. We do see a huge number of roaches in the composition right now for Lowely. This is great for holding off Hellion attacks and maybe catching out some Thors and tanks unsieged, but you cannot break a Terran with these roaches. There's going to be too many tanks in that composition, and tanks are very, very good against roaches as long as they're able to keep their distance.
Yeah, and there's also 4 Thors out, and once you get to like 6 or 7 Thors, they get to the point where they kill roaches so fast, they're also really cost efficient for them. But you know, even with 4 Thors and tank support, like you said, it's just going to be so one-sided. Lowely's got a bunch of drones just chilling. Oh, okay, it's because the Banshees were harassing his 4th. He now moves them back to his base and can resume mining, but I assume he did lose a couple drones there, so again, you know, just a little bit of damage done by Happy, so good for him.
And Happy's actually playing kind of the opposite of your typical Zerg versus Terran game. He's actually using those Hellions kind of like their Zerglings to buy time. He's using the Banshees kind of like their other harassing units to buy time to get his super army up, because the mech super army versus the Broodlord super army, mech with these Ravens with their Hunter-Seeker missile and their Corvid reactor, it actually has a very good fighting chance against this army. So I definitely like it, and he's actually going to be hitting when the Broodlord count is relatively low. Only 4 Broodlords right now. The Roaches, the Queens, and the Corruptors going to be going for a flank, but there's already a planetary fortress there. 2 more command centers going to be there as well, and those are probably going to get canceled. But these Broodlords are actually dying to Thors. You don't see that too often right now. The hatchery does in fact die right there, and there's 2 Broodlords left and only 1 Thor, so I think this last Thor is actually going to be killed by these 2 remaining Broodlords. He needs to be adding Vikings into the composition over here. But the Roaches were in fact able to force the cancel on 2 of those command centers, and the planetary fortress does in fact die, so both players trading their 4th bases right there. But I think that once again favors Lowely, simply because he does, favors Happy, because he does have those extra orbital commands. Any SCVs that were lost are going to be easily able to be replaced. And We actually do see Hunter-Seeker missiles going down onto some of these Corruptors and Roaches over here, doing a little bit of damage, but not exactly what he wanted those to be used on. He saw the Corruptors coming in and knew that those needed to be used, and it actually, Happy's in a really bad position right now.
I think Happy's just done.
Yeah, he hasn't been keeping up on his macro. We do see a ton of resources banked right now, and he doesn't have enough to defeat the Zerg army that's incoming. And Lowely just going to be pushing into the natural right now as those infested Terrans are being plopped down into the natural and now up into the main. The Hunter-Seeker missile is going to be able to clear out a large number of those infested Terrans, but I don't know if that's going to be enough. The Thors, the tanks, and the Blue Flame Hellions are going to be able to push the units out of the natural at this point, but those two Broodlords are going to be able to do a lot of damage. Queen's even making their way all the way across the map. At this point, the Hellions going to be trying to do damage to these Roaches, but that is simply not a fight that those Hellions want to be taking in those numbers. And Happy in a pretty rough position right now.
Yeah, he's in a lot of trouble. I really liked his late game plan. I just don't like his method for getting there. If he just played more defensive, scouted the Broodlords and actually had some Vikings, not moved out with his mech army, then I think it would have been really good because he got that Raven bank and then had a chance at fighting that army. But when you engage too early with the mech army, it just gets crushed.
Yeah, I think actually Lowely might be overextending a bit here. He's continuing to sacrifice units. He lost all of his Infestors, all of his Broodlords. The only thing left on the ground right now is just Roaches, and these two tanks that are sieged up in the back are going to be worth their weight in gold. Tanks extremely effective against Roaches if they're able to keep their range. I think I said that earlier, and that's exactly what we saw there. We saw SCVs buffering against those tanks, and the Roaches just completely died. Right now, though, there are 3 raised command centers. There's no he just dropped mules over here on the 4th base. The 5th base being morphed into a planetary fortress is actually done already. And so the Terran player going to start reproducing here, but as these tanks come out, he's going to be able to stabilize against this purely Roach-based army. There's nothing really that's going to threaten this tank-entrenched army right now. And with those those Ravens in the air, Hunter-Seeker missiles could definitely be going into the Infestors right now, and a few of those Roaches are actually going to take some pot shots. Infested Terrans being plopped down. Do manage to take out one of these Ravens, but I think that our Terran player might be able to continue stabilizing just because of this hidden 5th base.
Yeah, that's definitely the only reason he's actually still not left the game.
Yeah, I don't know.
If that hadn't been there, even though it's only 4 SCVs, if that hadn't been there, it's like, I don't have any chance at all. At least now you can drop mules there, try to get some gas economy, and hope that Zerg doesn't realize it's there. And if that happens, you can get some economy back. But if not, you're kind of just screwed. And, Lowely just made 10 Infestors. 11.
And we do have a Blue Flame Hellion run by coming into the 4th base over here. A lot of drones have already been killed. Fungal's going to be going down, allowing the Spine Crawlers and the Roaches to clean this up. And at the same time, these SCVs are finally going to be able to start mining again as the Zerg has moved back onto his side of the map. And Happy's going to do his best to be moving out a couple of these orbital commands and get his economy back to where it needs to be. But while he's making SCVs, that's going to be all of his income is going to go back to trying to reestablish his economy. The planetary fortress on the 5th side is going to be taking pressure from the overwhelmingly large army of the Zerg player right now. Losing an Infestor to a planetary fortress, not exactly what we want to see happen there, but Infested Terran's going to be coming down on all sides, doing a good job of spreading against the AoE damage of this planetary fortress and the planetary falls.
To repair it.
Yeah.
He just kind of watched it die to Roaches and Infested Terrans and was like, well, I guess there's actually nothing I can do. I can't repair that and keep producing Hellions and Vikings, which is what he's making right now. It's just so hard for him right now. He's got an okay tank count now. He's gone up to 8. He's got 3 Banshees left. There's just 1 Viking and 3 Ravens for his anti-air, which is not very much. Not very much.
Yeah, behind this, Lowely continuing to just keep his economy super strong on 5 base right now. Already at, that is 17 Infestors. Oh, 17 Infestors. That is so much. Do these have Neural Parasite? They don't have Neural Parasite yet. That's one way that you can get into a Meching Terran's army is by burrowing and then unburrowing with Neural Parasite or dropping Infested Terrans. That could be kind of fun. We'll see if that does come out a little bit later. Oh, this is a rough position, though, for Happy. He's being denied to only these 3 bases. The amount of mining that he has going on is very, very low. If we actually take a look right now at the income 1,300 minerals to 1,800 per minute, but the big story here is the gas. 160 to 650. As a meching Terran, you need that gas count so bad, and Happy simply just not have it at this point.
Yeah, and it's actually artificially low. I mean, he could have more right now. He could have 2 more on this geyser just third, and then this other second geyser just third is about to finish. So there could be 4 more SCVs mining gas right now, which is actually like doubling his gas economy as well. He's only got 2 on one of the geysers in his natural, so he could, he should have SCVs in there. Gas is so important right now.
Yeah, and we do see a roach-based composition coming out of Lowely. This is how he wants to finish his prey right now. We do have +2 ranged weapons going to be coming out for the roaches to make them a little bit more effective against the tanks, and the infestor count continuing to grow at this point, still at 17 with 3 more on the way. That's going to put Lowely into a max situation. We do have 6 corruptors in the sky to be able to deal with the Ravens. Blue Flame Hellions, 5 making their way to the left side of the map, 4 to the right side of the map. There are already spine crawlers in both locations, and a clutch burrow there from the drones are going to be able to save a lot of the drones. So about 7 still going down there on the left side of the map, and a few more going down on the right side of the map, but still the drone count at 62 to 35 SCVs. Mules are pretty good, but not that good, especially when you're only mining off of 3 bases. Now getting his 4th base finally. Happy. I feel like you had this game, and there was just some bad situations there. He needed those 2 additional command centers to be done at his 4th side on the left side of the map. Needed to have those morphed into planetary fortresses. 3 planetary fortresses are infinitely better than just 1. You simply don't get broken by roaches if you're attacking into 3 planetary fortresses properly placed.
Yeah, and I'd just like to point out the workers' kill count right now is 79 for Lowely and 87 for Happy. So
that's crazy.
It would not be fun to be a worker in this game. That is absurdly high. We also see the Ultralist Cavern coming down for Lowely, so looking to transition into some Ultras. Definitely good versus composition. Tanks are okay versus Ultras if there's a buffer for them, but when it's just siege tanks, oddly enough, Ultras kind of walk on top of them and just start owning because they do so much damage to armored units. You really need like a huge number of tanks to stop that. And there's 13 out right now for Happy, so he might have enough to fight Ultras cost efficiently, but even then, he's too far behind for it to really matter.
Yeah, we'll see. We do have the Zerg army moving out across the map, and Happy, feeling confident at this point, says, this is my time to strike. I'm going to go ahead and try to intercept this army out here on the map. But these siege tanks, if they're caught unsieged, this is going to be a disaster. And it actually looks like, a nice quick siege there from Happy is enough to deter the Zerg opponent for the time being. But look at all these units moving around right here. Drops is about to finish, and there's going to be a lot of roaches that are going to get dropped on top of this mech army.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised Lily's waited this long if he's got such a roach-based army. Drop is just what you do, right? That's last time I checked it was, but he wanted to delay that, went down other avenues first, and obviously he's got the Ultra Tech ready, so I think he might just be like he wants to trade supply really efficiently, and roach drop is a really good way to do that.
Now we do have 3 Ravens on the way once again for our Terran player. I guess Zerg can't build Ravens, at least right now. Maybe they'll get that buff eventually with their Neural Parasite and building SCVs. Yeah. But roach drops are going to be coming in. We do have about 18 roaches going to be dropped here into the main. One of the Overlords just 1 hit away from dying. And these full energy Ravens are here, but they don't want to use any of their secret missiles for the time being, and instead allow the siege tanks to take that out. But on the left side of the map, infested Terrans did actually force the liftoff on this command center. Corruptor is going to come in and try to deal with that as well, and the Roach is going to be able to clean up the 3rd multi-pronged aggression here from Lowely, taking advantage of the highly immobile army of the Terran player, and Lowely just playing an absolutely beautiful game of squeezing the life out of his opponent.
Yeah, he lost so many Overlords, though. He was supply blocked and then went down to 132 supply and couldn't produce anything because he lost all those Overlords. So for a second there, I looked up and I was like, wait a second. Is Happy going to come back in this game? Like, is he ahead now? But then, Lily had an 8K bank.
You know what, though? There still is the possibility of Happy coming back into the game. He's not losing his command centers. He's able to keep those afloat. And those are kind of important. He's able to keep his SCV count decent. Okay, no, that's not decent. 23 is not decent, but it's not.
Mules though, which is
it's not
pretty good.
Atrocious.
No.
Now the problem is that there's going to be 3-6 overlords, or excuse me, 3-6 ultralisks making their way onto the map in just a second here, and
3-6?
Yeah, they have 1 base armor, and then +3 armor, and then +2 armor.
Oh my god, you're right. Oh
Yeah,
dear
dude.
lord, I thought it was 5.
No.
Oh, ultras are even better than I thought, even though I didn't actually think they're that good.
They're so good.
Situational.
They're okay. But the problem is that there's ravens, huge amounts of ravens and Vikings in this composition that are going to be useless. We do see some Hunter Seeker missiles going down, but those are not effective against ultralisks. A lot of infested Terrans going to be coming in here, dropping down on every side of this Terran army at this point. They're going to be making contact with the support of the ultras, and the Terran army melts. Happy GG's out of there. That is game 1. 35 minutes long. Pretty damn interesting game there. Lowely showing us once again that it doesn't matter how long you keep him on 2 base. He's just going to play the late game to a T and just win.
Yeah, I really feel like if he just had better openings, though, he'd be a better player. Because, those games against Thorzan, he lost a lot of them, or he lost 2 of them, which was all there were. So he lost both of them because he stayed on 2 base for too long and then just got outproduced by Thorzan. Because Thorzan's macro is just, frankly, better than Happy's. So, versus those really good players, you need that advantage. You can't go into the late game just saying, I'll be good. Or you can't go into the mid game just saying, I'll be good late game if I get there, because you won't make it to the late game.
Yep. We'll see in the next game if Lowely is able to improve on his opener, but in the first game, even with a bad opening, he was able to take that one. We're heading into game 2. I've been your casting host, Beef. Joining me, Muatorn. Check him out over at youtube.com/MuatornTV, MUATARN, spelled out there for you on the overlay. We hope to catch you in the next game.